individual's racial appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start my rebuttal, let me clarify all the points. Let me state out all the points given by side opposition. For their first point, they want to protect the welfare of patients. Their second point, politically better for black rights. For their third point, safety for black people. Fourth point, discourse also for black people. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, side opposition initially questioned us, that said and accused us that we are place setting in Malaysia. But, ladies and gentlemen, notice this. We are fine if you use America as an example, but if you use America as your argument, that is clearly pace setting. They use America as an argument for their first point, for their second point, their third point, and their fourth point. So they are clearly place setting. They are not engaging on a more whole debate. We're talking about around the world, everywhere accepted.
We don't find that it happening in any other country with persecuted minorities, right? So what's the harm even if it happens outside of US?
The harm is that you did not give us any argument to support your belief that it does not harm the whole country, that the whole globe. All your arguments were based on was just, it does not harm Native Americans. One more thing, ladies and gentlemen, all the arguments are based on assumptions. They assume that a black person would change into a white person to convince white people to accept black people. How ridiculous does that sound, ladies and gentlemen? They are making clear assumptions because they do not have any examples to support their argument. They do not have an example of an individual who actually did this, and they're defending status quo, which means these medical procedures are now legal. But since that it's now legal, no one has so far done this yet. So all the arguments are assumptions. Accepted.
Assuming whatever you state about our case, how it's untrue, how it's not possible, it's all true. What is your solution then to the discrimination of African Americans all around?
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now, even if we do not ban this motion, the problem will still persist. Ladies and gentlemen, they're ignoring the fact that Barack Obama did become the American president. He did this without changing his racial appearance. So side opposition is clevering. They do not know. They do not know what they are doing, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm going to rebut the arguments presented by their first speaker. They said that side government does not have a say on what people want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is extremely easy to put aside. Take, for example, like I mentioned before, drugs. Drugs are bad for you. The government believes that drugs are bad for you. That is why we ban it. So now the government believes that these medical procedures, these extremely complex medical procedures, are bad for you. That is why we ban it. Our role and our duty as the government is to ensure and safeguard your welfare. And that is given by my first speaker in his first point. We are ensuring the safety of the people. We want to protect you. Deny. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, they were also confused about, they tried to include plastic surgery into this motion. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to restate that plastic surgery is a far simpler procedure than the medical procedures that are taken to change an individual's racial appearance. Like my second speaker has already mentioned in his analogy, you are changing the entire thing, not just one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they said their second argument about how it's politically better for black people. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, although this is a ridiculous argument, I will still do my best as the third speaker to engage in this argument and rebut this. Ladies and gentlemen, how is this politically better for black people? When you become a politician, even, for example, you want to run for president. When you run for president, the entire nation does a background check on you. They will know who you are. They won't just judge you based on how you look. They will judge you based on how you are and who you are. How else do you think that Barack Obama became the president? He became the president because he was true enough. He was virtuous enough. And the American people believed that he could do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that second argument has been swiped off. Now, their third argument about how it gives safety to these black people, on how if they change into white people, how a black person changing into a white person would then convince white people to change to accept black people. ladies and gentlemen, once again, that sounds really, really ridiculous. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. My second speaker also gave the example of how the Taiwan lady changed a racial appearance and got caught. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, understand this. If an individual changed their appearance, for example, a black person changes their appearance into a white person, which means that they themselves cannot accept who they are. How do you expect them to accept their children, ladies and gentlemen? Because of course, undeniably, their children will come out to have their genes, their original genes, not their falsified genes. Ladies and gentlemen, how would they accept this? This causes more harm, like my first speaker has already mentioned. Alright, on their fourth argument about how it creates discourse and it's unfair and it's unjust for black people. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, once again, side opposition did not give any examples. There were no examples to back up any of the arguments. So how are we supposed to believe that this can be done? Because once again, they're assuming that once a black person changes changes his racial appearance into a white person, he has a better fighting chance to be elected for president. Where is the example? Where is the concrete and solid evidence? There it is, accepted.
I have no idea whether it exists or not exists in status quo, but the way assume, obviously it's assuming someone must do it. Would you rather keep going through it legally or illegally?
Ladies and gentlemen, their burden at the end of the day is to prove to us that status quo is better. But if they say that they don't even know whether status quo is better or is better or not, and they're just assuming all their arguments, then how are they defending status quo? They have to defend status quo with real arguments, real facts, real evidence. Show it to us. Defend your case. Engage into our debate. Fight for the point. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I have completely obliterated all their arguments. And once again, I would like to state that we, side government, hold firm to our stand that this House would ban all medical procedures intended to change an individual's racial appearance to ensure the welfare of the individual and the community as a whole. With that, I'm proud to propose